Hey guys, it's Warren here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the One Precision Poacher by Sage. Now it does things like poaching, obviously, but it also does things like sous vide cooking, which is something I've not really experimented with, so I'm quite excited to see how that will work out. So we'll do a quick unboxing, see what you get with it, and then we'll do some cooking, so we'll do some poaching and sous vide cooking, and see how good it is at that. So let's see what's inside. Okay, to start with, looks like we have some recipe cards here, so that'll be good to get some inspiration of things to cook when using this for the first time, and the instruction manual as well. We've got a glass lid here, and that's got two vent holes on the top, so I'm guessing one of those is for the temperature probe, and a good size saucepan here as well. So yeah, it's good that it's quite large because it means we should be able to fit quite a bit in there. And this just looks like an egg holder for when doing boiled eggs, which obviously fits nicely into the saucepan. An egg topper, brilliant. This has made my day because I've always wanted one, but this, yeah, is just a little gadget to remove the top of your eggs once they've been cooked. And finally, this looks like it's the base unit, so what the saucepan will go on top of. It's a bit bigger than I thought it would be, but it looks like it's where we, set all the controls when we're doing our different types of cooking. And it looks like the probe just slots into one of those holes in the lid, just like that. So yeah, that's it. Let's put it in the kitchen and get started. Okay, so I'll be doing 4 tests. I'll be doing boiled and poached egg and salmon and steak sous vide. So when you turn it on for the first time, it gives you the option to set the clock. This isn't mandatory to use it, but it's nice to have in case you want to set it to come on at a certain time. And with the clock set, I'm going to do my first test. So I'm going to be doing boiled eggs. Now the instructions say you need to prick the bottom of the eggs that you put in. So the holder actually has a little utensil where you can do this. Now I'm only going to test it cooking 2 eggs because it's rare that I would ever be cooking 6 eggs at a time. So once the bottom of the eggs are pricked, you just put the holder into the saucepan and fill it up to the steam line with water, which isn't actually that much water. Then you just check all the settings, so you've selected soft boil for the steam function, and then what it does with the lid on is it just preheats, and then it will start doing a countdown from 5 minutes 30 for soft, which is what was selected here. So the probe isn't actually needed for this function, and you literally just leave it to steam away, and after the 5 minutes 30 it will give you a beep indication to let you know that the eggs are ready. So I'll just give them a quick rinse under cold water to stop them cooking, and then let's see what they're like. But first things first, let's see how this egg topper works. Pretty well, I think. Very impressed. But in terms of the consistency of the eggs, I'd say they're probably a little bit runnier than I would have hoped for. But maybe there's just a bit of a teething period which you need to learn from for the next time, so you know the right timings for the number of eggs that you have in there. Okay, so for the next test, it's for poached eggs. So I filled the saucepan up to the fill line, put the probe in this time, and what it's doing is it's preheating up to 85 degrees using that probe to measure the temperature. When it's reached that temperature, I just give it a quick swirl like I usually do when I'm making poached eggs, and then just drop an egg in that's been cracked into a ramekin to start off with. You stick the lid back on, put the probe back in, and then hit the start button again to leave it to cook. Okay, so after the cooking time, it definitely looks poached, and it's worth just saying here you can actually put up to 4 eggs in here when poaching. But the test for me with a poached egg is how runny the yolk is, because I like a runny yolk. But this time it seems to have overcooked it more than I would have hoped, as opposed to the boiled eggs where they're undercooked. So again, maybe it's just a teething issue where you're just starting to get used to the timings. Right, next, and this is what I've been waiting for, it's time to sous vide. I'm actually using a defrosted frozen salmon fillet because it already came in a vacuum sealed pack, which apparently is what you need to try and do when you're sous viding. Again, same story, stick some water in the pan, leave it to heat up to a specified temperature, then stick the fish in, put the lid back on and the probe. And this time I'm leaving it to cook for about 12 minutes at 58 degrees centigrade. Okay, so after the cooking time, we'll see how well it's cooked. And you could tell on the reading on the temperature probe as well that it did pretty much stay at 58 degrees, which does live up to what Sage say, where it stays within 1 degree of accuracy. And I must say, and I don't know if this is because I'm used to having fried salmon, this was lovely and flaky and it was full of flavour, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Okay, and for my final sous vide test and my favourite thing, beef steak. Now again, you need to try and vacuum seal it, but I don't have a vacuum sealer, and I'm sure many people out there don't either. So a way I found to do it is to just get a Ziploc bag, zip it up to nearly the end and stick a straw in. Then you can suck most of the air out and then just zip it shut, and then you've pretty much got a vacuum seal for the steak. And again, we just set the machine up like we did with the salmon, then drop the steak in once the water's heated up. I did a bit of research on the internet and it needs to cook for 31 minutes at 55 degrees centigrade. So it does sound like when you're sous videing, you need to be really accurate about the temperature and timings depending on the weight of what it is you're cooking. So once it's done, simply remove from the bag. And what's strange here is I'm used to steak with quite a crispy exterior, but because it's been cooking so slowly, it's actually cooked medium rare all the way through as opposed to just in the middle, which is actually really nice. It's made the steak really soft and flaky, and at the same time it's cooked just right. Okay, so there are all the tests I did cooking wise with the One Precision Poacher, and to conclude, as I said earlier, I think there are some things you just need to, do a bit of trial and error with to get the perfect timing. So the eggs, for example, it's a really personal thing, how you like your eggs. So after a few times, I think I'll probably nail it in terms of how long I need my eggs to go in for, and this gives you the flexibility to amend your timings as you need them to be done. And in terms of the sous vide cooking, that's probably what impressed me the most, because I've been exploring a new texture of food with this method of cooking, and the poacher did actually do a really good job at keeping a consistent temperature to make sure that food that is being sous vide is cooked really evenly. The only thing I would say when sous videing is you have to have the egg basket in there so the food's not directly touching the bottom of the pan, which means that you are limited sometimes on space with larger items that you're cooking. Okay guys, so that concludes my review of the Sage One Precision Poacher. If you liked this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. Remember also to hit the subscribe button and the bell button as well, and that will notify you when I upload a new video. And you can check out loads more of my recipes and other product reviews by clicking on one of the videos appearing on the screen.